going to break down some simple things here, guys. And the question is, why trade a meme coin if a meme coin can go to zero? When you can trade literally the greatest meme coins, which are simply Solana, Dogecoin, right? You can trade all these other coins that are actually, aren't going to go to zero, right? They're the basis of everything, right? So let me make sure the microphone is working here. Simply Solana, and it is Dogecoin, right? You can trade all the. All right, so now we got our microphones updated. Everything's ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and shut that down there. I don't need that anymore. All right, so this is what I'm talking about, guys. If you're trading a meme coins they're ruggable. They can go away. There's so many risks to it, and it makes no sense to risk your money. And if that doesn't make sense to you, then you shouldn't be trading anyways, because you don't have the ability to process logic, right? Trading is logical, man. So let's dig in this and get logical. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't want anyone to get mad at me for the things I say, but let's just be honest here. The most intelligent people make money no matter what it is, and the most intelligent people find ways to make money the easiest way. And unfortunately, that's not for everybody, okay? Nothing against anybody. It's just that not everybody has the ability to process or get yourself in a situation where you understand how to make money, right? And that's just the way it is. It's nothing against anybody, nothing bad to say, but if you're not, you don't have the capability to process how to make money, then you won't make money. So here's some sayings, right? The smartest person in the room always knows they're not the smartest person in the room. And when the smartest person in the room, right, if you happen to be the smartest person in the room after many conversations, you're in the wrong room, right? So you always want to get to a room that has smarter people. So I'm going to break this down for you guys, and I'm going to show you a system here, right? Now, everybody has trading systems, okay? They're all the same: support, resistance, Elliott waves, et cetera, et cetera. And the thing is that once you get to the point of understanding what everyone is doing, right? So that's the question, right? If everybody's using the same system, okay? If everybody's using the same system, and why is 90% of the people using the same system losing on the same system, right? If you're all using the same system, why are you losing on the same system, right? Well, the problem is you, right? It's the person using the system is the reason why they're losing, right? There's nothing else to it. I'm just going to open this up a little bit because I need to get rid of these little things here. So who wants to be a successful trader? Hit ones in the chat. I'm going to show you something here. I'm going to blow your mind. If this doesn't blow your mind, block me and never follow me again, right? Because I don't want to be talking to people that just don't have common sense. Nothing bad to say about you guys, but if you can't process information, you shouldn't be trading anyways, because this is a brain game, okay? This is brain game. Nothing personal, but if you don't understand that you should probably be following the smarter people and how to make money in crypto, then you're probably not going to make money in crypto, okay? Here's what I do know. I always find the most intelligent people in something that I want to invest in, and then I learn what they're doing, because that's intelligence, okay? So take it from me. I'm going to show you something here. And if this isn't the easiest thing you've ever seen, just block me already, because I'm tired of talking to people that don't understand. So here's how this works, okay? You see this right here? This is an indicator, okay? And this indicator right here, all right, here's an indicator right here. You see this green shit? Okay, that's called money. See this green shit? That's money, right? And the only way, how can a coin go up? Let me ask you guys, how does a coin or investment go up? How does your investment go up in price, right? It needs value, right? It needs money, right? It means people to buy, right? Volume is king. If there's no volume, there's no up. You understand? And when it goes up, they sell. Why do they sell? Because like you, they want money. This is not hard to understand. They sell when they make money, it comes back down, and the people that want to join in on the FOMO jump in, and it goes higher, and then people sell, and that's it. And after they sell, what happens? It goes back down because there's no more money. Why? Because the people who bought in these areas down here, they're waiting for it to come back down to this area, right? Or to find what's called the floor, right? So this is how this works, okay? So you're going to want to follow me. You're going to want to learn, all right? If I'm not the smartest person talking to you on TikTok about trading, then you should just block me because I'm embarrassed, right? Anybody you want to put up here, anybody want me to come debate, you want to talk to any, name your favorite traders and we'll have a discussion. And I guarantee at the end of it, I will teach them more than they know. Okay, here's how this works. When there's money, it goes up. Then people sell, and then there's FOMO. Okay, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Okay, that's how it works. Then on the way down, there is wave 1 down. Then there's a support buy for a bounce. And then after the support buy, then it comes all the way down. Okay, that is how it works. Okay, and then moving over here, it's the same scenario. Once the money gets above positive, right, what do we have? We have wave 1. You can see here, same thing, wave 1. Then people sell for profits. Wave 2. And then we run back up for wave 3. Okay, this little pattern repeats over and over. And then what do you have? You have wave 1 down. Wave 2 is a bounce off support. And then wave 3 is another pull down before we start over. Okay, now let me show you something here. Why we only use one indicator. Okay, very simple. And this indicator, if you want to know the name of the indicator, it is right here. Okay, here's the name of the indicator on TradingView. It's VC MTE Moon Volume Tracker. What we're doing here is we're tracking the money. What they say, show me the money. Show me the money. That's what we're doing. This is what we want. We want the money. Okay, now I'm going to pull up a regular chart so that you can see what this is. This is a buying zone. Okay, when the money comes in, this creates a buying zone. Okay, this is our buying zone. Okay, see this white box down here that we have? See the 2 white boxes? This is a buying zone. Okay, how much is a buying zone worth? I'm going to put the bottom of the buying zone so that you know, and I'm going to turn that yellow. That's the area of the buying zone that starts. And I'm going to put it here. Now, when we measure this buying zone, okay, this buying zone, if you had our indicator, would have bring you in 42%. Okay, see that? How many people, right, would have want to make 42%? You guys see that? 42%. You see that? That's 42% on Solana. Then it came back down. You see how it comes back down? And on the next move, which is wave 3, wave 3 is always bigger than wave 1. The next move, Solana went up to 71%. You guys see this? 71%. Okay. Now, I might just pull this box up a little higher so we can have that. I'm just going to put 2 yellow lines here. So that makes sense. So let's put our targets in here. Yellow to yellow. Yellow to yellow. Okay. Once again, first wave 1 creates 45%. The next wave that we get into creates 66%. A little bit higher than that, but we'll take it's fine. So let me mark this off for you, right? We're going to edit this. This is going to be 44%, right? We're going to put that there. And 66%, okay? All right. So you guys, do you see how easy that was? Was that hard? Do you guys think that you could have, if you've seen this indicator, okay, let me show you. When this indicator comes above the positive area, right? You see that? Do you think that you would be able to be smart enough to buy when that happens? That makes sense? That make sense to you? Tony, you got to we might have to give you permission, brother. Might have to give you permission. Go into the Discord and put your user ID number. So if you guys are if you guys are looking into the indicator and you can't find it, you can go to the look at my my TikTok, and on my TikTok you'll have something. You just go to TikTok VC Crypto Nation Live, and you'll see this right here. Just check out our link right here. And then there's a welcome video that you can jump on. And the welcome video should help you out. All right, so this is how easy this is, right? Now, this is a wave 1 purchase, okay? Now, we're going to show you again. Let me show you guys again. We're going to go back a little bit here because I want to show you where there's other ways. This is a wave 1 without a wave 2, right? So you can see right here. Let's take a look into here. Now, it's always, there's a day, okay, when it hits here, this becomes the white box, okay? And then I'm going to go here, and I'm going to put this white box up here so that we have it right there. So that would be the breakdown that we have. Okay. And that's when it starts coming down. Okay. So let's measure this, right? Let's take a look here. So in this particular trade, the yellow line would be somewhere here. And then the top, let me open this up a little more, would be somewhere here. Okay, and we're going to measure this real quick just so we can see what a wave 1 is. So on this particular wave 1, this was 32%, right? 32%. We're going to go ahead and mark this here. And this is the easiest way for that we can show you a system, right, that makes money, right? So there's 32%, okay? See how that made 32% right there? 32%. Okay, so all that happened here, let's go over the process. This indicator has an orange line. You see that orange line there? See this little orange line? And you can see here that this goes by daily. So at this particular candle, it hadn't gone past that line. But on this next candle, it does. Does that make sense? So this is your buy area. And you can see here that's on this candle. Now on this candle, there is a wick. You see that wick? Now we're putting your buy in at the top of the wick. You see this top of the wick right there? Let me make this a little more clear for you. Now what this is basically saying at the top of this wick, see the top of that wick right there, is that you bought in at the worst possible time, right? And from the worst possible entry, right, that's the top of the wick. Most of the time you're going to buy in at the bottom of the wick, somewhere around here. But we're just going to take the worst possible entry because you're a terrible trader. Let's just be honest. You suck at this. And we're going to go here, and from the worst possible entry to the top of this wick here, we have 32%. You see that? Now, how hard is it for you to buy when this breaks across that line? Does that look hard? Of course it works for Algorand. Guys, this works for every crypto. It works for every stock. It works on whatever you trade. It doesn't matter what you trade. If whatever you're trading is on TradingView and you have candles, these indicators are on TradingView. They work on every single stock, crypto, Forex, whatever you trade. This system works on everything. Now, it's not about the system, right? The indicator is nice, but it's about you have to have a strategy, okay? You need a strategy to make money. So if you're serious and you have, 1,000 and up in crypto, right? most of the time, you want to have these are strategies are for people with, 5, 10,000. If that's what you have and you're interested in making real, making your investments worthwhile, the system is for you, right? If you have any questions about it, you can look right on my TikTok, and you can send us a Gmail and ask us any questions. You can go right there, Gmail, and we'll answer all your questions, and help you with this, right? So this is not financial advice. This is do your own research, look at the indicators, learn what we're doing, check out our videos. This is me just showing you a very simple system that is fundamentally based on money, right? If there's no money, there's no long. If there's no money, the price goes down, right? This is not something that is hard to understand. This is really a very simple system. Now, the strategy is where you make all your money, okay? The strategy, how you use the system, is where you make money, right? In this particular move here, you can see that we only had a wave one, okay? So here, there was only a wave one, all right? There wasn't a wave two, there was just a wave one, and sometimes that happens, right? That's just basic. This is a big wave. Normally, this pulls back, and then as it pulls back right here, you see this how this went to a blue moon? Right here, this was supposed to be wave three. So what we were supposed to have is this. We were supposed to have wave one. We were supposed to have wave two, which is a pullback, if you guys know what elliott waves are. And then wave three is supposed to be the biggest wave of all, wave three. Okay? Now, we know that when we get this blue moon, you see that blue moon there? We know based on this blue moon that this is still pulling back. Okay? Notice how the orange line doesn't head up. There's no up here. All right, so we know that there is no wave three here. And here's what we say. Okay, let me explain what we say. This is a very simple concept. When you know what's supposed to happen and it doesn't happen, then you know what will happen, right? So this actually becomes, when it becomes a wave that doesn't happen, it becomes a wave one in the opposite direction, which is red, okay? So this becomes a short wave, wave one, and this becomes a short, okay? Now, had you known that, right, I don't know if you guys short, I don't know if you guys do that, but what will happen here is, let me make a red box for you. Does anyone know how to short? Hit ones in the chat if you know how to short. You guys know how to short? All right? You guys know how to short at all? Anybody know how to short? Okay, okay. So here, Mark. J-Mo. Okay, this is how it goes. So we knew that we were supposed to get a wave three. Instead, we got a blue moon. Okay, now the reason why, you see this blue line here? See this blue line? Now, when this blue line goes sideways or starts to head down right here, this lets us know that that's the beginning of a short area, right? And I'm going to turn this into a red box because that would be the shorting area, right? And this is where we start our wave one down. Now let me go to the regular. I'm going to put a red box here. I want to show you something here. So this is how the system works. So I'm going to just come down here and I'm going to match up with when this starts to come up here, right? So there you go. See how that matches up? And the reason why is because the orange line crosses up. You see that green moon? Okay, so this, okay, let me show you how this works. Okay, now, and this is just a basic breakdown of, here you go, wave one, wave two, and then we would have a wave three. All right. Do, 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 do. Now, if you know what's supposed to happen, right? So let me measure this out. So if you were shorting this, if you knew how to short, you would know that when we've seen this blue line start to head down, right? Remember, the blue line is heading down. You see the blue line start to head down? We know that now we need to short at this place. So based on that, we would be shorting on this candle here. And I'm just going to draw a yellow line. You guys see that yellow line? And then we're going to draw another yellow line at the bottom of the trade right here before it starts to move up. You see the two yellow lines? That means if you were shorting here, you would be able to make 79% on the short. So I'm going to type that in, 79%. That's what the possibility is, right? So now you could have made 79% on the down side. Now you can think of it two ways, right? You could either short and make 79% down, or you could have sold and saved yourself 79% on the down while you're waiting to buy again. Now, this isn't the end of it because you have a, remember, this is wave one. When it bounces, there's wave two, right? Here's the bounce, wave two, right? Wave two, very simple. And then wave three is the next pull down, right? And you can see here that based on that, when we open up this red box, and remember here, let's go down here. This red box is going to go sideways until the volume breaks above the positive line right here. Okay? See that right there? That's where it goes. Okay? That's the bounce right there. So now when we go up here and look at this and we pull this across, right? This is the opportunities that you have. Now, the bounce and the pullback, right? This pullback here. Let me fix this for you. Control Z. We can see that if we took another trade, which would be on wave two, somewhere here, and we went down to this level here, right? Wave two. Here's another opportunity for a short position, right? And that short position would be another 60%. Now, I want you guys to think of this. All right? This is why you're not making money as a day trader, okay, or an investor. You have 79%, and then you have 60. Total, if you were holding this coin, you have a 128% from top to bottom. And I'm going to put that here, 128%. Now, 128% move down from this position, right? If you would have just had this system, if you had our one indicator, right? Hit ones in the chat if this makes sense. If you had our one indicator and you knew it was time to sell with that blue moon, and you sold right here, and all you were going to do is wait for the buy area here again, not just here, right? At the end of the day, and I'll just measure from this area here. At the end of the day, you saved yourself minimum of 80%. So no matter what you did, you saved 80%. Okay, what that means is even if you didn't short this position, and then right here, notice that that's the bounce area, right? And this is something, this is training 101, okay? You guys heard of support and resistance, right? So I'm going to draw this line here. I'm going to make this line a 3. So you see that? The first pullback bounces off this line. Then it bounces, and then it breaks down even lower, okay? After it breaks down even lower, it comes back up, and then from this area, it starts to break out again, which is the same area on its first support. That would have been 80%. Now think about it like this. If you rebuy this area here after it's done shorting, right, which means you would have bought over here, right, this area here, that means that you have already, so is it you short, you sell, and then you rebuy here. And what that means for you is this. When it goes back up to its area where you sold right here, you have made an additional 80% on your money. You see that? Now that is a what we call a you have your system that shows you what you can do. A strategy is what makes you money. By using this system here, Mandrake. Actually, it's not that hard, bro. I don't know. What is your philosophy behind that? You know, why can't you hold through wave two? So you don't want to hold through wave two because a lot of times what happens is you don't know. It's based on the volume, bro. It's based on volume. It's the strategy, right? You can hold through wave two. Okay, that's not a problem. The problem is that what is your strategy, right? If you hold through wave two, you risk giving up all your profits. You understand? And if you know there's a wave two, why risk giving back 30 to 40%, right? Why risk giving back 30, 40% when you can close out, let it bounce, and then buy back for another move down, right? That makes sense? The whole goal here is to make money. When you start becoming someone who's always holding, that's where you're always just going up and down. There's no value, right? There's no value in that. So as we move through here, right? Like what was that guy saying? You can't do this on live. Well, here I'm doing it live here. So right now, right? I'll show you live. Here, this is how easy this is. Like everyone, people who don't use indicators or don't know how to do anything, always, think they understand how this works. It's just kind of funny to me. But all right, so you see here, see that blue line? Okay, we know that when that blue line went down, we're in a short here. Okay. All right, so right here we're shorting. What did we just have? All right, what just happened here? Right, this is wave one. All right, here you go. Wave one pullback. Right, wave one has a bounce, and then wave three happens. Now this is live, guys. We can't do this live. It's impossible to do something live. We do this live every day, bro. Look, I mean, we do this all the time, dude. Look. This is what we do. Look. These are students. This is what we do, bro. This is what we do. What you mean we can't do it live? What you mean? What you mean it doesn't work when it's live? What do you think we're doing all day? What you think we're doing every fucking day? What do you think we're doing, bro? We're doing it live every day. What do you think we're doing? Think we're not doing the shit live? We're doing the shit live, bro. Look, it's live. What you think we're making out? You think these percentages are what? Because we're guessing? We ain't guessing out here, bro. The fuck you mean? Doesn't work live. Of course it fucking works live, bro. You just not smart enough to fucking do it. That's the problem. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Right? If you're not smart enough to do it, then don't fucking do it. I can't help. I can't help in that way, man. It's just let's just do it this way. If you're not intelligent enough to do it, then that's just you're just not intelligent enough to do it. I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm sorry, but you have to have some type of intelligence to do anything in this world that has to do with following mathematics and simple strategies, dude. I mean, nothing personal. It's okay. I'm not mad at you. I just like, when smart people talk, man, you should probably listen, dude. You'd be way better off. Here's the thing, man. Let me ask. So if you could do it, then I'd be listening to you. That makes sense. If I could, if you could do it, I'd be listening to you. That's all I'm saying. But you obviously can't do it, so I'm not listening to you. So we are in wave 3 here, which is another pullback for Solana. And that's where we're at. Because remember, man, if you see wave 3 on your chart, consider going green, but this may not be the correct direction. Say that again. So if you see wave 3 on your chart, consider going green, but this may not be the why would we guess? That's the question. Mandrake. All right, so here, this is wave 1. All right, wave 1 is the pullback, right? Here's our pullback. All right, wave 2 is normally 50%, right, of the pullback, so it's going to be about up to here. And then if it starts to go the other direction, which it is, then we have a good idea that we're going to pull back a little bit to wave 3, right? Now remember, none of this really matters. Man, come up, man, Mandrake. Invite up, guys. If you want to come up here and talk, man, hop up here and let's talk. That's why we're here, man. So Solana's going down, man, and we can see it happening right here, right? Now, these are strategies, guys. Strategies, right? The best strategy here is to take the short on wave 1. Okay, this is the best way to make money is wave 1. The rest of it, you know, it's shorter money, right? I don't really care about wave 2 or wave 3 because what I'm waiting for is wave 1 on the green side, right? And what do I need for that to happen, right? I need for the volume, see this orange line? Okay, so let me show you. See how that orange line is bending right there? You guys see that? You guys see that? See how it's bending right there? Right? That's going to be the fact that we're going to go down from here. There's no money. See, there's no money. See? And once this breaks down, we're going to see the price come back down. So that right there is why, you know, and remember, when do we go long? The next time we go long, right, is when the volume gets above the 0 line. Remember? See this white line right here? That's the 0 line right here. See that? That's the 0 line. We need this orange to break above that line to go long. So right now, we can't go long in our strategy. Does that make sense? We won't go long here because based on our strategy, we don't go long here because the strategy is to wait for the orange line to break the 0 line. If it doesn't break the 0 line, then we don't go up. We don't even have a green moon. Right? We don't even have a green moon yet. Okay? We don't even have a green moon. So we can't even go long here until we get a green moon, right? What do I mean by green moon? Okay, come over here. See the green moon? See the green moon? We can't even go long until we get a green moon. And then we don't go long until what? You see that blue line? So after the green moon, see the green moon? The blue line has to go up, right? So if the blue moon is here, right? The next time the blue moon goes up would be here. Now I'm going to take this color and I'm going to make it yellow, okay? This would be the early entry, would be this yellow zone here, right here. So if I went up here and I put this yellow box here, that is the early entry right there. See that? That little section right there? That's the early entry. Now the thing about an early entry, right, is this. Anytime that you jump early, there is always some type of pullback, right? You see this pullback? So if you jumped early, you would enter here. Then it pulls back on you. You see that pullback? And the entry that we got earlier by waiting and being patient was actually better. It was lower. That makes sense? All right. Let me show you this, guys. Okay. I'm gonna move this yellow box above, and I'm going to just focus on. I'm gonna move this white box above. This is why you guys lose when you trade. You're always trying to cheat the system, and you're trying to be like, brilliant, right? But brilliant people know you can't cheat systems. You know why? Because systems always work and people fail. Okay, let's look at the scenario. Let's say that there's a green moon and I wait for the blue line to start up, right? I don't wait for the volume to get positive. Okay, I jump early, okay, because I'm trying to be smart. You see this candle here? Now you have all the opportunities to get into this candle. Okay, this is your candle here. Now you can get in here, right? And you can get in at the bottom area here. You can get in anywhere in this candle. You can get in somewhere around here, right? Or let's say that you wait and you're at the end of the candle and you get in here, right? So there's all these opportunities to get in, but there's always a pullback. It always pulls back. You see how it pulled back to here, right? Now, when there's pullbacks, I'm gonna put this one through here because this is our normal entry. Anytime there's pullbacks, you risk losing your entry based on that. And this is all strategy, like you got to have some type of strategy. So there's all types of ways to get in here. So what I'm going to do here is you have to have a strategy to get into this candle. Okay, so you can get in this candle. You just have to have a strategy that gets you in this candle. The one thing you can't do, right? The one thing you can't do, right, is you cannot, and listen to what I'm saying to you. If you have a daily, whatever the time chart is, you see that time chart? See how this says daily? Let me teach you something here. You cannot buy this candle, right? If you have to buy this candle, you need to get in when the candle first starts, whether it's early down here, right? You need to get in early on this candle, right? Somewhere in this zone here. The best entry you can get is right about here. Okay, that's your best entry. You got to buy early. If you don't buy early, this candle jumps up. Now, what you can't do is no matter what, if you don't buy this candle early and you let it go up, when it gets to the top, you can't buy this candle until it's about 1 hour before the next candle. So 1 hour before the next daily candle, you can buy this, you can buy in here. So you'd be buying somewhere around here, right? So this would be these are your two entries. This is your early entry on the candle if you buy right away. And then this second one, that is your late entry with 1 hour before this next candle comes. Those are your two options, okay? Now, this candle here, when we wait for the volume to get to that level, you can see we had an opportunity to buy the pullback. You see this pullback? So we could have bought here, here, we could have bought anywhere in this area, or worst case scenario, we could have bought here, right? But either way, we have these options here that we can buy. There's always a pullback. So you need a strategy on how to get into these candles so that you can get yourself in a position to get the best entry. So this is where you need to learn an entry strategy, right? So whatever your entry strategy is, you need to master that. Does that make sense? That's what it is. But one of these has to have a strategy. So let's do this. So I'm going to put a yellow line through this. And I'm going to put a yellow, white line through this. And we're going to see about, this is another ideal for a strategy, right? Because at the end of the day, this all comes down to strategy, right? So I'm going to pull this white box up and let's make this white. Okay. So let's go look at these two opportunities to buy into a candle, right? Let's go look at these opportunities. So we're going to look at this here, and I'm just going to circle it so I can find it easy. So this is what I'm talking about, is strategies. You guys got to have strategies. So I'm going to take this brush. I'm just going to go like that. All right. Now, normally when I enter a trade, okay, normally when I enter, I'm going to be entering on a 10-minute time frame or lower. So let's find this trade somewhere on the 10-minute, right? So let's find that big circle that we just had. There we go. All right, so this is our enter area right here. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to keep this here so that we know that this is our enter area. So this yellow box is the first entry. This white box is the second. So let's open this up. Okay. So here are your two opportunities to enter. And now that we have this here, I'm just going to drop this down. Okay. So here are your two areas of entries. Okay, that makes sense. Area 1, area 2. So let's open this up. Now, how do you take these entries, right? So here's your first thing, is that you have the yellow box here, which is triggering an entry up this area. So how would you enter in this area to get yourself the best entry? And then we have the white box here. You see the white line. And then we have the pullback. Now, I just want to show you the difference here in the trade, right? So if you entered here, right, you'd be here. And the pullback is here, okay? So when we measure this, just so we understand, the difference in this scenario isn't that big of a deal, but we need to know what it is, right? See, it's 4%. So this buy zone, right? This is what this is. This is a buy zone. So this buy zone is 4%. Okay. So let's put that in there. 4% buy zone. All right. So now we know that this area here has a 4% buy zone. And I'm going to close this off. And there we go. So this is the top to the bottom where we could buy. So now we know where we're at. Now you have to have a strategy. Okay. How do you buy in this area? So you have to come up with a strategy, guys. What's your strat? Well, hold up. When a green candle closes, enter at the midpoint of the closest closed candle. This ensures you won't miss. So I like that. So there's a strategy. When a green candle closes, enter at the midpoint of the closed candle. Okay. And you what time frame you talking about? So Mandrake, what time frame would you enter? What time frame you talking about? What's your time frame that you enter? Are you talking what candle? 1 day. Okay, okay, okay. So let's jump. Let me go. Let me pull up Solana on another trading view. All right, so here's Solana. All right, so what you're saying is on the daily, okay. So when a green candle closes, enter at the midpoint of the closed candle. So you would want to be entering the midpoint of the closed candle. When the green candle closes, enter at the midpoint of the closed candle. Okay, so midpoint, right? Now, sometimes the candle closes higher, right? So you would want the midpoint. You would be talking about, if this was this candle, we'd be talking the middle of this candle. We'd be somewhere here, right? So I'm gonna draw this candle here. We'll put a cross. I'm gonna make this blue, right? And then this one here is the second candle of the closed candle. We'd be looking for the midpoint right there. So those are the two midpoints, okay? All right, so now let's jump over here. Okay. So this is what Mandate is talking about. His strategy is this, okay? On his candle that he was talking about, the one that we were tracking on the closed one, it gives you this blue line here, which is inside of the buy zone, you see? So he would be putting his price right here and say the next time that he's going to enter is at 146.66. So that would be his entry zone. That correct, Mandrake? That correct? That's how you would look at it. And this is the middle of the first green candle that closed. So that is a strategy, guys. All right, so that's a strategy. See, that's what we're talking about. You got to have strategies. Once you have a system, guys, then you can implement strategies. So Mandrake, he likes entering in the middle of the first closed green candle. Mark, I either enter off the 3 candle bull flag or enter on the impulse candle. So Mark, what do you, Albert, what are you talking about? What time frame are you talking about? What time frame are you talking about? Thank you, Albert. All right, so use the 15-minute. Okay. So what we're going to do here, let me pull up another chart so that way we have our basics not getting messed up here. All right. So what you got? So what'd you say here? So 15-minute. You said the 1 minute. So let's go to 15-minute. All right. So you would be talking about a bull flag. So you would be, I would assume, this would be the flagpole. This would be the bull flag, right? Is that what you're talking about? You would go off the bull flag, and then you would go off of, what'd you say, the 3 candle, or the impulse candle. So all right, now let me pull this up here because this is where we want to kind of work this over. So here, 3 candle confirmation. So basically, if you guys are out there learning, and this is what's important, is to go by based off what people are learning in basically crypto. Three candle confirmation refers to a family of three candlestick patterns that signal a potential reversal on the continuation of a price trend in financial markets, right? So let's go to the description. This pattern consists of three consecutive long bullish green candles that appear after a downward trend. Right? Each candle opens within the body of the previous candle. Each candle's close is higher than the previous one. The consistent upward movement indicates that the buyers have taken control, signaling a strong bullish reversal. Trading strategies, traders often enter a long position after the close of the third candle. Okay, so you're looking at the 15 minutes, so you would be three consecutive, right? So you would need so right here. Okay. So based off what he's saying is after his bull flag, he needs three consecutive candles right here. So here's a body, closes higher, and then he would be entering here. Does that give you a three candle situation? Because some people would say this normally would be a three candle. This right here. So and this is where, you know, let me put any pictures up for us. What's this? Okay, so let's go over here and take a look at three inside downward patterns, triple candlesticks definition. So this is where you're getting into all the confirmations of um, three candlesticks. So now you're learning in the candle side. So let's just look here. All right, so here's three candles that end in each other, right? So there's a section here. All right, so one candle starts here, this closes in the body, this closes. So this is a possible three candle, right? Does that make sense? That looks like a possible three candle. And then we have another one if you wait for bigger bodies, right? This is a possible three candle, right? One, two, that looks pretty strong, right? And then we have this one here, which is another possible three candle, right? Which kind of goes one, two, three, closes within the body, right? So here's the pull, close, here's the pull, right? So there's another possible three candles here. And then if you're waiting for, like, let's say no wicks at the bottom, right? So let's say that you go, I don't want to see any wicks, right? So this has a wick, this doesn't, this doesn't, this has a wick. This has a wick, this doesn't, right? And then you say, okay, here's one. Nah, does that have a wick? That has a wick right there. And then we go here, so that would be, yeah. So this is where, this one right here. So these are three possibilities, right? So let's just go, and we're just going to give any of these possibilities and say, okay, you're entering somewhere in this trading zone, right? So this would be the three candle. All right. All right, so here's your 3 candle pattern entry, right? Worst case scenario, you're entering somewhere here. Best case scenario, you're entering somewhere here. This is the 3 candle pattern, right? All right, there we go. All right, so there's an option. There's a strategy, right? So here's one strategy here, right? And here's one strategy here. Now, these are strategies, guys. These are simple strategies that allow you to find an entry based off strategies, you see? So this is the daily, right? Remember the daily we had right here, right? This is where the daily pulls up. There's a green candle on the daily. You pull back to where the middle of that daily is, and then you set your price at that level, and that's it. If you go to the next level, which is the mid, let me fix that, Control Z, which is this section here, this means that this candle halfway through would be about here, which would be the worst case scenario would be 148, okay? So let's go back over here and take a look at Solana, and there we go. So this is the next buy zone here, right? 148. So these are 2 strategies, guys, that you guys can look at and say, here's 2 ways to enter a trade: a daily trade or a 3 candle trade. And that's the most important thing, right? So once you have your strategies, right? Now you have the strategies that you're thinking about of how you enter, right? That's what we're getting at here. Because now we have the strategies of how we enter. All right, makes sense? So these are the strategies, and let's post these through here. These are the possibilities in these buy zones that you can buy. Okay, these are the possibilities for the entries, etc. All right, so now let's go back to the system. Here's your daily, right? This is our normal entry. This is a possible pre-entry. This yellow box is a possible pre-entry. And then we have the normal system, right? So our system is this. When the volume actually gets above positive, right there, you see that? You see this little box right there? You see how it's above? See how it's not? See how the candle is not? It's not going. Let me move this. Control Z. Okay. Control Z. All right. So you see right here how the volume is above and the candle is going up in the upward direction. Okay. And that's what gives us our normal entry position. Is when the volume is going above the middle right there. Okay, that's the normal entry. Now, when we slide here and we go look at the normal entry, right? And I go back here to the 10 minute, and we also have the 15 minute. Let's go to 15. That's what we're looking at. So now you can see that this is the normal buy zone that guys would get into. This is the daily. This is the 3 candle cluster, right? 3 candle cluster, and let's go and measure that out. All right, and I'm going to put the 3 candle cluster here. And I'm going to turn that one red or purple. So we have the blue possible entry. We have the 3 candle cluster entry. And then now, here's what we have here. So when we see that we finally, you see here, we get the entry mark that tells us we're going to enter. Right here, you see? And at this point, this would be the area that we would be considering to enter. Now, what we do here is we run a very simple reset, right? We use a 10-minute strategy, right? Which is simply go to your 10 minutes. Oh, we go back to the 15 minutes. We're going to keep this at 15. We're going to keep this chart at 15. My bad. We'll let that load. Okay, we're going to go here to the 10-minute time frame. And once we have our buy signal, which is this right here, this is very easy. What we do is when we get the buy signal, we simply let the buy signals go from, and you'll see here the moons, right? What we're going to do here is once we get a buy signal, which is right here, we wait for the 10-minute, see the volume right here, see the money? See, when we get the buy signal, see the volume is in red? We wait for a reset, meaning the volume to come back around and start back up in the positive section, which would be right in here. You can see we get a buy signal right here, but you can see the volume breaks up, hits the 10 threshold, and then gets above. So we would get right here, this is where we would enter. When the 10-minute threshold, which is this dotted line, gets volume above it right here. So this is the actual entry that we would be entering, would be right here. And I'm going to turn this one green, okay? Now that is our entry point right there, and we would be entering right there, 147.46, okay? So now we measure all these out. You can see that the blue zone ended up being around 148, the other zone 149, and then the entry zone that we teach, the strategy that we teach, would be 147. So these are the 3 entry zones that we have. All right, so the entry zone here, 148. We have the next entry zone here, 149, and then we have our entry zone here, which would be 147. So all those entry zones, right, pan out. Some of them are safer than others, right? And based on how they're put in is the difference, right? These 2 entries come early, and then there's a pullback against them, right? And that's where, when you have a strategy, this is probably the most important thing, because we would enter off this zone over here. This is our 10-minute entry. This is where we would actually enter over here. So let me show you this. So our entry zone is over here after the pullback, okay? Now what that means is that after a pullback, we don't have to worry about our stop loss, right? So this is where, when you're doing a strategy, you have to take in consideration the things that could happen, right? And this is what I'm saying, being safer is always a better option, but it's based on your strategy, right? So if you're depending on, let's go through this as far as like the pullbacks, right? So if you entered on the 3 candle entry, you're looking at a 3.5% pullback. If you entered on the daily candle, you're looking at a 2.4% pullback, right? So that's the difference of like how, and what this means is this, right? So let's say And I'm just going to run these up. So this is your blue zone from the bottom to your blue. All right, we'll make that blue. And then we had a bottom to the red zone here. And I'm just going to make this the color. Okay. And this is where strategy matters. If you entered here, 3.45% pullback. And the blue one is only a 2.32. Okay, so those are pullbacks. And then the green entry where we enter, that is a separate section where our pullback happens later, which is pretty much almost the same mark. So our pullback goes from here to our buy, 1.7. So let's put this line here. So 1.7. Okay. All right, so there's your options for all the trades that you can make, okay? Entry on the daily candle mid, entry on the 3 candle coming out of a bull flag, or simply waiting for the volume to go positive to give you that move right there. Now, those are your possibilities for your trades. Very simple, but let's evaluate these here, because these earlier trades were actually would have gave you the opportunity to get what's called a kind of like a possible C trade in here. But let's measure if you would have entered on the blue, right, and got in over here, and you set your entry in. That wouldn't have happened until here. So that doesn't give you this trade. Coming out of the bull flag, this actually gives you an earlier entry that did have a spike that could have gave you a 6.65. So 6.5% trade. All right, so looking at this and evaluating this, these are your options that you have when you're trading. And this is why it's important to have a system, guys. If you guys have a system, these are the opportunities that you have that you can make. The daily trade doesn't, when you pick this daily trade, that trade doesn't happen. This is the buy zone, remember. That trade doesn't happen until over here. So it's the same as our trade right here. So our trade and the daily trade end up on this backside. And the best that you can do, or the worst you can do on this trade here, is 5.7, right? So that would be this trade here. I'm going to just put 5.5. All right, so there you go. So you have this possibility by using the daily trade. You have a 5.5. Our trade, 5.5. If you used the bull flag, and if you were able to calculate the 3 candle pullout, that would have gave you an opportunity to get into this push trade here. Now the thing is that you have to, I don't know how often this trade happens, right? That's the thing about having a, well, Mark, I mean, so Mark, the thing you're doing on the bull flag, this is what we talk about, like entries and strategies, right? What we don't know is how your strategy, how often it works, right? That's kind of like the situation that we're in. We don't know how often that works. So if we do, let's say 10 trades, right? How many times out of 10 trades are we going to get that move before it goes down, right? How many times are we going to get a 6% move before it goes down, right? The one thing that we know is that on our trade, by waiting for everything to actually line up for the correct trade, then we would be in a situation where we know our trade is going to do 4 to 10% 8 out of 10 times. So this is where, having a strategy, you once you have a strategy, you can now test this strategy, right? So this is going to be these 3 entries I'm going to test all over the next videos. This is what I'm going to test on the next videos. Okay. So that way we can see what that is, right? So let's go to current times, right? Let's go to, let's say, and this is our daily. We need to slide over to our daily. All right. And redefining, like, this is what we call putting in strategies for what we see to change possibilities, right? So a lot of times there's a threshold, right, that sits around, we call it the two line, right, which is about the two line, which is right here, right? So normally, right, anytime that you see a move to the upside, you want to see a pullback. And then once the pullback happens, you want to see a retest. And that changes the, velocity of what you're entering, right? Either way here, we know that on our strategy, right, this is our strategy, is that whatever entry we took here, we're riding wave 1. And wave 1 is going until there's a blue moon. So you see that blue moon? So for us, when we get this blue moon, right, is kind of where this, you see how this starts to come down here, right? That right there is the area that we would look at. And in this section here, this would be our close. So when you look at this, you can see that what we're looking for based on our strategy is this line here. So for us, when we enter, we are shooting for this move here. And this move is based on our entry, is a 20% move. 21%. Okay? And that's just basically off this system, right? So you see here, you see how this wave goes up, right? We're wave going up, and then when this wave gets to the top and starts to come down, right, and it gets to this candle here, there's a blue moon that pops up, right? So you see this little bump here, this little blue moon, right? So that would be where would we, look for a closeout, would be when this blue line comes, and we're just going to draw here. I'll make this a blue line so you can see kind of where we're at. And that blue line would shoot up to here, which would be this candle here, right? Which would bring us to our entry right here. See how that works? So blue moon, blue line, right? Blue line means there's going to be a push up here, right? A bounce, right? So we could actually, you know, if we were holding, we would wait for this bounce. So you could actually make more, right? You have the possibility of making it up to here, which takes it from a 21 to a 29% gain, right? But we're not going to go for the 29, right? Simply because let's say that you're not you're really good trader, you're an average trader. You're just going to go off of the you're gonna trade like a scared trader. You're gonna panic sell. So this would be your normal would be 21%. Okay. So normally your 21% is going to be your average. Now we know, right? Let me explain to this. We know that once it comes down into a wave down, there's always a bounce, right? We know there's wave one, wave two, and then wave three, right? You see here, wave one, wave two, right? So we already know that this wave here is then going to give us another wave up, right? So you don't have to be the greatest trader, right? You just have to be a trader that, you know, understands the basics, right? So this is the possibility of wave one that you're in. These are your options, right? And these are the setups. Now that you have a system, right? You have a system, you have an entry strategy, right? The next strategy is your most important strategy, right? How do you make money on this So now that we know what's happening or what can happen, how do you make money, right? That's the next thing that we got to get into. So let's slide down here. This is our daily, right? We can see the pullback, wave two pullback, and then wave three is even bigger, you see? So this is where, let's take the same strategy that we just put over here, and let's put it over here, right? So, and I'm just going to divide this up real quick to a smaller box inside, which is simply this. For us, it would be this candle right here is where we would know that we have the next entry, and I'll make it gray. So this is our next entry into this white box, okay? So based on the same thing, let's go down to the 15-minute. Well, let me do the daily first. All right, so daily. Okay, let's look at the daily. So this would be your entry candle, right? So let's say here's your downtrend. All right. Here's your downtrend. Starts to go sideways, starts to go up, right? So here's your first full candle. Based on your daily entry, this mid part, this would be considered your blue entry. Okay, there you go, blue entry, there you go. Mid candle, mid entry, there you go. This is now your blue entry. Now based on 15 minutes, we would be looking for a bull flag again, right? So based on the 15 minutes, we're looking for a bull flag. So based on this, it would have something like this. So we would have a bull flag opportunity. I have a couple different opportunities here. So we'll say don't forget to share the live, guys. So let's say we have a bull flag here, straight up, bull flag, pulls down, comes across, and then we're looking for the 3 candle pattern. Positive, positive, positive. So that means that your entry would be somewhere off of here. We'll turn this red again, or purple. Okay. There we go. So now we got our blue entry here. We have our bull flag entry here. Okay. And we look good on all these. We don't have to worry about pullbacks here. There's not too much of pullbacks that happen. We'll measure this out here. Top to bottom is about 1%. So the biggest pullback here is a 1% pullback off this zone here. And then we have where we have our entry right here, right? What's our entry? We're going to slide to the 10-minute. All right, so here's our entry, right? So what do we do? This is what we do when we get an entry. First thing we do is we go to our moons. Okay, here's our entry right here. And that would bring us here. We'd want it for it to break above here, right? Here's your entry, pulls down, comes back, breaks above, comes back, and then retests right here and starts to go up. So this would be our entry right here. So there's our 3 entry positions that we would take, right? Based off of pullbacks, retest, all that. So these are just simple strategies that you can put in. And normally what we like to see is, we call it the 30-minute. Let me pull this up here. And this is a student trade. So a student trade is this, ready? The student trade is when the moon indicator breaks above positive, right? So you see right here, I have a couple of different areas here, but we were waiting for the daily, which is here. We would want the 30-minute to go above the 10 threshold, which is right here. And then when it pulls back right in here, this is where we would be looking for an entry right in here. So basically when it breaks positive, goes into a green moon right here, this is where we would be entering off this. And you can see that's the same entry that we have. We would be pulling in here. Most of the students would already be in a trade because most of the time we trade these money pockets here. Right, but this is a daily trade. This is a daily strategy. So for us to follow the same systematic would be this: is when we get an alert that there's a long, we'd simply wait for the volume to break above its positive zone here, right here, and then that would be our entry point, 179. So that's the same entry we have here. Okay, so we're good there. Now when we open this up, these are our entries. Okay, here's your blue here. Here's your 3 candle. Here's our entry, right? And then on this, we have our pullback zone, right? So our pullback would be, our max pullback would be 3.3%. And 1%. So 3% and 1%. Okay. Pull back. Let's go put it in here. 1%. Pull back. 3%. Pull back. All right, there we go. And then for us, with our daily, okay. So once again, on this trade here, as we start to move into our next move, what we would be waiting for, because this is a wave 3, we would expect a higher move, right? So the first move, we take the first blue moon because it has to pull back. On the second move, which is wave 3, we are going to take the second blue moon, right, which is going to be over here. The reason why is because normally there's a wave 3, wave 4, and then wave 5 finishes. So that means that we would be trading this until this right here, which would be this trade, right, when it starts to head down, which is on this. So that would be to this red area here. There we go. Which means that we have a possibility of a trade that's going to be on this candle here. The lowest point would be somewhere. Let's just go to the lowest. It doesn't matter. Lowest possibility is right there. So when we measure this all out, that means from our trade to the top of the trade that we're looking for, let's measure that. This brings us another 20%. So there's another 20% trade. Okay. So do you guys see how we did that? That's the breakdown. Those are 3 different strategies. 3 different strategies on how to enter a trade. And the same system, right? So the thing that didn't change is we're entering the system when the volume on the daily is making its move to the up. The early entries are based off of the daily candle and the bull flag entries for longs, and our entry, which is waiting for the volume to go positive, right? Now, in each scenario, we were able to create the opportunities to make a certain percentage, right? And every time it's we're gaining 20 to 30%, right? And that's pretty much that's a system right there, guys. That's how you do trading, right? Does that make sense? 3 types of entries, and then where we're going and what we're looking for to close out. So that's that. Now that you have the numbers, right, the scenarios, right? So pullbacks are average of 4%, so you can say 5, right? So if you have a 5% pullback, now you have to work on a strategy that allows you to um, build a system, a strategy of making these trades during these times, right? Let me go to my daily. Okay, so wave 3 right here, we're waiting on that. We're going through a pullback here. See where this ends up. And then from there, we'll be looking for a move to the top. Now, this is kind of an example of why we don't do the daily candle. All right, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you why our system is a little bit different than everything else, right? So the first part is this. So you see here how you have red candle, green. This is a daily candle. So then what happens is, in the daily candle scenario, if we have a daily candle entry, you see here that you would say, okay, this would be your entry point, right? This would be blue. So currently, based on the daily entry, right, we would be looking at an entry point somewhere in this section here, because this is the middle of that candle, and that's normally somewhere in here. That's normally when you say the daily entry would be coming into effect. And I'm going to put a yellow box here, simply because this is where the other two type entries are coming into effect. Now, if we move to the 15-minute, using the same scenarios that we have already. Yeah, this is our area here. So the other scenario is this, the 15-minute three candles, right? So what does that mean is that there has to be a bull flag, right? And this is kind of where we see a bull flag. So if you guys don't know what a bull flag, let's go over to a Google and let's type this in. And why it's important to understand is a bull flag. Why it's important to understand what people are bull flag pattern. Okay. So a bull flag is a bullish technical continuation pattern that signals a potential pause in an uptrend before the price continues to rise. So you see here there's uptrend, 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 red, uptrend. Then you see this bull flag that comes in, and this is the three candle pattern that they're talking about would be his entry right here. This is probably the best way to kind of like show. So uptrend, 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 slow in the uptrend, pull back, then the three candles, 1, 2, 3, entry, right? Strong uptrend, right? And that's normally with a strong first one candle. So based off that, let's go ahead and take a look here where we're currently at. So where we're currently at is the 15-minute. And what we'd be looking for here is in this area here where we see an uptrend and we're looking for a bull flag, right? A bull flag normally happens where there's a red candle, a push, and then a downward. So red candle, no push, red candle, right? No downside, big push up. And then this is where we see that the pullback here. So we kind of get a little bit of a bull flag here, but then it goes into a downward pattern. And then we have the same scenario here where this looks like the same. So that's the thing about where, let me see if I can help myself out here on indicators. Bull flag, pennant chart pattern. And I'm going to put another one here. So I'm going to put two bull flags here, indicators. So bull flag, pennant, bull flag. All right, I'm going to put those in here so that I can use those as indicators to when I'm seeing a bull flag, right? And that's the problem, guys, with when you're doing patterns and you're trying to use patterns, a lot of times you're just kind of you're guessing at what the pattern looks like, right? So let me move the let me try the Let me try different time frames, right? Let me move to the 5 minute. Okay, here we go. All right, here's a bullish flag, right? So when you use the indicators to find your bullish flags, right? Yeah. So if you have, depends on, so that depends on what you're paying for. I have the highest, I have, I don't even know what, let me take a look at. I don't even know um, what am I using? So currently I'm using, oh, I can put my YouTube channel at VC Crypto Nation. Let's see. So this is at VC Crypto Nation. Go ahead and fill that in while I'm here. What am I using? Billing history. I think I'm using, what's my current? Oh, my products. I know I have, I don't think it's the highest, but it's the second highest one. Okay, so if you have the second highest one, you can get yourself a bullish flag pattern on there. But you can see it. This lets us know where there's a bullish flag. Now notice here, you got the bullish flag, and then you're looking for a 3-candle pattern out, right? First one is a big candle bullish. You got 1, you got 2, and then it went down, right? So the bullish, the bull flag here didn't work out. So that didn't work out for us this time, and then it created a down. This is why I say it's very, when you're using patterns and stuff like that, you know, it makes it very difficult for you to kind of understand what's happening. It's not an easy process to use bull flags and all these things because it just creates a lot of variables where there could be mistakes, right? And that's kind of what the issue is, right? Now, guys, if you're welcome in, man, welcome in. Don't forget to share the live, guys. Share the live. Let's get some people up in here. And so you get to that situation where a lot of times you don't get the right thing. So we'll go to 10 minutes. Okay, so here's a bearish pennant, right? See the bearish pennant? And you can see here's a bearish pennant comes out, or a bullish pennant. You can see the push up, it builds, right? And then it doesn't break out, right? And then it has a big pullback. Look how far that pullback is, right? So if you don't know what you're doing, if you're trading volume in different levels, this pulls back, if depending on where you got in, pulls back about 2 to 3%, okay, before it goes up, right? And then it's struggling in between this little section here. So here's a bullish pennant. Its target, notice that it has a target here, right? So based on the bullish pennant, it has a target based on these. If it breaks out, it's saying that when it breaks out, that it's looking to go up to this target here, which is 2%. You see that? So that way, now you have a target area. So if you were trading in that area, you know that on the pullback or whatever's happening there, you have the opportunity to have a target area, guys. So this is kind of like all these indicators, you know, these are all systems, right? That, you know, strategies that you can use. You know, the difference is strategies, right? Systems and patterns and stuff like that give you an idea of what's happening, and then they have a strategy of a target from a bullish pennant. The reason why our system is different is because we use one indicator, and all we do is we trade on the money. If the money's there, then we make money. If the money's not there, then you don't make money. It's really that simple. So what we're doing here is we'll show you. I like using all those different things that you guys trade because it allows me to help you guys figure out, you know, how to be the best traders. If you're using bullish pennants, right? If I was trading bullish pennants, right? I get my bullish pennant, I see the pullback, the bounce, then I would put an entry somewhere in this area here, right? Would be this blue line, and then when it hit it, then I know that my target would be this area here, which is 3%. And then you can see here, the target area is 3%. We haven't hit that yet, you see? We only got up to this area here. So we didn't hit our target yet. So this target is still open. So the target that we're looking for on a bullish pennant, right? I'm going to put this here. Let's turn this over to green. And we're going to put this and add this and say this is the bullish pennant target on the 10-minute. So there we go. So bullish pennant target 10-minute time frame. You see that? So now, wherever you're entering, you know that's the target. And it's currently 3% from the entry line, right? CDO, what up, baby? You want to check XRP. XRP, 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 XRP. All right, so let's take a look at XRP. XRP, XRP. All right, so right now, let's see. Do we have a bullish flag? We got no bullish flags, right? We got the bullish pennant, bullish flags. Turn them on, turn them off. Turn them on, turn them off. Okay. 5-minute, not there. 3-minute, not there. 10-minute, not there. 15-minute. Okay, here we go. We got some targets down here. All right, so here we go. So first of all, you had a bullish pennant that came in on XRP at about 276 way back on the 26th. So 4 days ago. See the bullish pennant? Then it gave you a target. You see the target right here? Did you have purple rain stuck in? What up, REP? Right, so that brings us here. Purple rain. And you can see here, this is the target. This lets you know it hit its target. See, bullish flag, right? Bullish pennant, right? Bullish pennant, bullish flag, right? They're both in the same area. See this? Now I'll show you the difference if I get rid of the pennant. See the bullish flag right here? See the bullish flag, and then bullish pennant. Okay? They teamed up in the same area. Now, if you have a bullish flag and a bullish pennant, then you're looking at a good scenario on the 15-minute, and they gave you a target here, right? See how that works, guys? So, guys, if you want to learn how to trade, man, you gotta trade with someone who's actually a very high skilled trader, right? And that's what you need to do if you want to be successful in trading. Is you got to trade with somebody that can teach you how to use all these different options and find ways to master a strategy that works for you. Okay. Anytime you see a bull pennant and a bullish flag, we all know that's a double dinger, and that gives us the opportunity to make moves here. So this would have been a trade in this position would have gave you a 5% trade, right? Now we're reworking here, and that's pretty much how you can break that down. But for us, it's always in the money. You can see this money coming here on the 15 minutes. That's the trade we would make in here. So we would be making these trades. The thing about bullish pennants, bullish flags, and all that, if you buy the higher price trading view, you can get those indicators yourself. There's also, so let's say here's your technicals, right? 24-hour volume, auto Fibonacci's, balance of power, Bollinger Bands, chop zones, right? Financials, right? Communities. These are all the different community flows, right? There's all types of different indicators that you can use. That's what I say, guys. There's a bunch of stuff out here that work as far as like um, how to trade. You just have to, you got to figure out, you got to find someone that's smart enough to show you all the things out here that's possible, and then develop the system that allows you to repeat something. The system that we have, which is this one indicator, allows us to avoid having to learn all the bullish bull flags and all that stuff, and then gives us very simple things. But understanding these and using these for target areas, does help for people for target stuff. Let's slide over here. Let's see if there's any bullish banners or bear flags on here. So here you go. So here's your bullish flag on your 30-minute, popped up on XRP, 275. The target was right here. Let's see if we have anything else here. We had a bullish flag here. The target for the bullish flag that was put up here. And that's why I say, this is why we don't. There's prime examples. It's all about how often these things are actually right? That's what you have to think about, guys. What up, Kelly? Welcome in, welcome in. This is all about, how many times do you see a bullish flag and then they put a target, right? And then there's a big pull down before that, and there's another bullish flag. They put a target. So there's a bullish flag here. Bullish flag, target $3. Here's a bullish flag, right? Target 209, right? So, or 290. So this one is here, this one is here. Each bullish flag has a different thing. This one didn't hit its target. This one hit its target, right? So if you go through there and you say, okay, how many bullish flags were on XRP? How many of them actually hit their targets, right? So that's where we don't really use bullish flags as a trading system. It's nice to understand, but they're not consistent enough for us to be um, too concerned about them. But on the higher time frames, if you do use bullish flags, if you go to the bigger time frames, things are more successful on the bigger time frames simply because there's more volume on the bigger time frame. So here, this one here is a bullish flag. Target was the 290, which it hit, right? Bullish flag, 276 up there, right? So let's slide to the 1 hour. All right, so we can see the bullish flag there. I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing a CDO. I'm not seeing yeah, it's all about probabilities. I'm not seeing any more bullish flags. CDO. I know you're an XRP guy. XRP. I'm not seeing any more bullish flags right now. You know. When we had a pennant at 290 that has a target of 326. So there is a pennant, a bullish pennant here. Let me see if there's a flag in there. No, there's no flag. So right now there is a target here of 320. 320 for XRP right now on the 3 hour. Yeah, it's just, we want something a little more consistent, something that we can rely on. Bullish flags and bullish pennants aren't always there, but this one here is a 1 hour. That one hit the target. So if you're going to use the bullish flags, use them on the higher time frames. I would definitely use what you want a daily. Celio, my man Celio said, do the daily, brother. All right, I'll do the daily, Celio. Celio. So you're talking about this right here, huh, Celio? You're talking about that? So this is a pennant right here. And the target on the pennant is 484. That's the target. So sometimes you see people putting targets together. So 484 is the target for XRP, right? So if you're an XRP person, you're probably excited. But no, you don't have a bull flag or bull pennant right now, Celio. And this is what Celio wanted to see right here. He's like, that's it. That's the money right there, bro. Didn't quite make it, right? Didn't quite make it. Let me refresh it. Maybe if we reload it, maybe it'll pop up for you, bro. Maybe if I reload it for you, dog. Nah, we just got the pennant. No flag here, brother. No flag. And the reason why is because flags have a certain, so the way flags work, there has to be a certain pullback zone. This didn't hit we went a little bit further, right? So if you just say a bull flag, right? A bull flag is a bullish technical term, right? And this is the technical side, right? Look for an uptrend, identify the flagpole, right? Flag consolidation after flagpole, creating a channel that slopes down slightly downward or moves sideways. The flag and confirmation, low highs. Should have lower highs and lower lows compared to the flagpole. Trading volume tends to declare flag consolidation. So this is just there's some technical percentages on what it should have said a pullback, how much it should pull back on there. But like on wave two is normally 50 to 80% pullback on wave one when you're doing Elliott waves. So, where's my XRP? Okay. So on the daily XRP, it didn't quite hit the pullback. You see how the pullback has to come down? This one didn't pull back enough for it to create a flag. But I know what you're talking about, because what you're thinking about is this would be the pull. This is the flag. And then you'd be looking for this outtake right there. But that's why using, when you're doing it yourself, a lot of times that could get you in trouble because you think that's a bull flag, but it looks like it's going to be a pull down on there a little bit. So it looks like it's going to continue down, but no bull flag. But it kind of tickled you, right? Kind of made you happy. Bull flag, bull flag. That's why we don't use the patterns, because a lot of times you can get fooled. And then you think it's a bull flag when it's not, and it doesn't go the way that you think. Even though most traders, there's probably 100 traders on TikTok, 100. It's probably 10,000 traders on TikTok right now, 100,000 traders telling everyone there's a bull flag on XRP. There's a bull flag when there's not. But expect this to pull down more. We're going to have more of a pull down until October 5th, and then we'll see a move. So you see why you can't always have that situation there. For us, once again, it's very easy, and this is where I look at the scenarios here. When we break above the positive value, see us break above the positive value. When we get into those zones there, right? Those are the zones that we make our money. See those? Positive volume, huge spikes. Pullback, green moon, another spike, right? Positive value, right? Pullback, entry, another spike. Positive volume, pullback, entry, another spike. Positive volume, right? Another spike. Now we're getting positive volume, pullback, right? So all strategy wise, guys, but it does look like we are. VC set me up. I'm ready to join my amazing. What's up, brother? I got you guys. Go check out the link in the bio. That'll take you there. Watch the welcome video. The welcome video will get you where you need to go. But that's what I'm saying. Like when you have a system, man, if you go with your system, keeps life easy, guys. Bull flags, patterns, all those other things can get you into trouble every once in a while. So for instance here, This is what we were saying, like entries here. So there's an entry point here on the daily where you see the pull down, second green candle. That means the entry would be for this candle here for XRP. An entry would be considered, this on the daily would be 285. Right now, we think it's probably going to pull back even further, but let's say that it pulls back to this lowest amount here, right? Maybe that's a little. That's a decent pullback. Let's say, possibility would be there. So it's about 5%. So if you're doing a strategy, that's why I say you always want to consider some type of pullback, right? This pullback could be 6%, and then that messes with how you trade, right? So REP, REP sitting over there floating on the yacht, guys. You can do so well in crypto. You can enjoy yourself. The thing about doing crypto and everything else is that you have the ability to enjoy your life. Obviously, there's people out there on the boats enjoying the summer, enjoying the fall, just enjoying life in general. That's what weekends are for, to take your time to enjoy your life. Times that markets are down or slow. A lot going on out there. So, Numar Yusuf, what up, Neymar? Namer, what up, bro? How you been, Yusuf? So this is why, these entries or these patterns that you guys have. This is another example of a daily candle, right? So let's say if you had an entry on a daily candle, you would have an entry somewhere in the middle of this trade here, and you would say that your entry is 285. Now your pullback possibility is about, based on that, is about 6%. So what that means is, strategically wise or strategy wise, we'll just say 7%, right? So let's put this here, settings, 7%. So this has a possible 7% pullback. The reason why we don't use the daily candle entry, I forget my boy, it was Mademark. What up, bro? Neymar. What up, Neymar? The reason why we don't use this entry is because of this reason. It has a big pullback opportunity, which limits our ability to look for profits, right? So what this means is, if let's say we did a 10x leverage, which is one of the smallest leverages that you can do, this would pull back, for every 1%, it would be 10. So this is 60% here. So this is way too high, right? So we'd have to use something like 5%, right? So when you're doing a daily trade, you'd have to use something like a 5% leverage, and then you would have to, use a possible 5% pullback, right? So 5 times 5 is 25. So you would be looking at having the ability to use a 25% stop loss, which means you can only do a 5% leverage. So when you use the daily, it goes beyond the 5% pullback, and it puts you at risk more than it does gives you the ability to go long, right? So what you have to do is create a strategy that you can use. Because remember, when we wait and we're very patient here, right, and this is where I'm going to wrap up for you guys. When you're patient here, you got to realize that when you have the patience and you get in properly, we're looking at 20 to 30% moves, right? So in reality, if you're doing this, let's move it up, and if you're doing these type of trades, let's go on a calculator. This is what you're trying to do here. So if you have an average move that is 20%, and you do it times 5, right? So if you have let's say you take $5,000, right, and you get this to move, let's say 5% on a 10% move is 50%. So 20% would be 100. So what we're trying to do here on the minimum is make 50%. So on a $5,000 trade, you're making $2,500. Okay? Now, if you can execute one of these trades 2 times a month, 12 times a year, right? You can easily bring in an extra $60,000, right? And that's low risk, low management. Um, that's the hodler's dream, right? So that's $5,000 trade, 5% leverage, 20% average move, right? That's only you getting half of that, 10%. So every 10% move would be 50%. So if you can make 50% on your trade 4 times a month, 12 times a year, out of $5,000. So this is the difference. This is what when people say, how much money do I need to start with? Well, if you have more money, then you're going to make a lot more money. But you got to realize this is way better than anything out there, because at the end of the day, when you divide this by 5,000, is what you started with, you have 12 extra money, right? 5,000 times 12, right? That's the reality. That's 1,200%. So you can be up 1,200% on your money. Now we know if we use anything else, if we're out there, we basically use a IRA Roth, or we use any of those other things, that the best you can do is maybe 20%, 10 to 20% a year. So this is why learning how to trade and having a system and a strategy is so important, because you can literally make 1,200% more trading yourself. So, but first thing you have to do, guys, is you have to have a system. That's why we have our system. This is the daily system. And then once you have a daily system, then you need a strategy. And that's what we're going to focus on, is how to do a strategy on the dailies that make it very profitable, what leverage you can use, and that's how you basically get ahead. So if you guys are interested, the first thing you need to do is you need the tools to make this happen. So these are the tools that we use right here. You go to this right here. Okay, guys, you can go ahead and screenshot that if you want. That's what we're going to use. And there you go. That's the code that you want to put in right there. FEBC. FEBC. Go ahead and screenshot that. If you want to use the QR code, that is right there for you. Go ahead and screenshot that if you want. And once you have that tool, man, once you have that tool, then you're going to slide over and you're going to get yourself a trading view account, so you can look at the charts, and then you can get the indicators. Okay, if you need the indicators, just go over to my TikTok, and you'll see right here in my links, you'll see that right there. You see this? There's your links right there. Click on that links, and you'll see a welcome video. Go through the welcome video, and that will take care of you guys. All right, so guys, not financial advice, simplicity, everything that we're doing, and we're going to come back to these strategies. This was a good session today, because we were able to pull up strategies based on daily candles, the three candle pattern to entries, and the bull flag and bullish pennants strategies. And now we can come back and make some more videos that will break down how to take advantage of these type of trades and how to do them correctly, so that you are more profitable in everything that you do. So right now we are getting ready, like we said, guys, we are getting ready for the move up. We've come down pretty low here, but we are holding some value. We like to see moves around October 5th. So look for this small pullback on Solana here. And then once Solana starts to, come out of this reversal, we'll be looking for some, decent runs here. Because, like I said, this is wave 1. We're pulling back wave 2, right? And this pullback is wave 1, the bounce is 2. So this will be the bigger wave 3 pullback. And then that'll set us up for a nice jump in 1, another pullback, and then we'll see a bigger move to the upside. So that's what's coming in November, is all the opportunities for a new wave 1, 2, and 3. So don't forget, guys. So we're going to have a wave 1. We're going to have a wave 2. Let me get the mount here. So in November, we will have a bounce up here. We will have a pullback, and then we'll have a bigger run. And that's where we're going to be looking for these coins to hit these other higher levels. And we're going to be looking for Solana to get into the $300 range, XRP to get to the $4 range, and then we'll go from there, guys. All right, man. So other than that, good luck. God bless, guys. Appreciate you. Don't forget to follow. Go watch the videos. Like, comment, share. Get yourself signed up for the things that you need, to the tools. And like I said, the tools start here. Take yourself a screenshot. This is what we use to trade. If you want the indicators are free. Once you have this set up, go to the TikTok, go to the link, and follow the welcome video. Let us know that you have your account set up for the indicators on TradingView so we can send them over to you guys. Good luck. God bless, guys. Have a good day. Appreciate you, man. As always, we'll be back tomorrow. Baby? ¿Qué pasa, señora? How about pizza, señora? All right, so now we got some strategies we can make, guys. I'm going to go have some lunch, and then I'm going to work on these strategies tonight and tomorrow, and we can work off what we just went over today, man. So good luck out